Okay, welcome everyone to this monthly love meeting. So welcome to Roger and Conrad, to Carrie and Michael, Alan's here, Julie's here, and we've got Joanne and Angie. I'm just muting you all back. So let's just do a 60-second alignment so we can just fully land in the space. Uncrossing everything, nice straight spine, feet flat on the earth, and just taking 3 long deep breaths in through the nose and blowing out slowly over the bottom lip, which is a beautiful way just to calm the nervous system. It's what I always do when I go into the courtroom. Take 3 long deep breaths to try to earth myself. And as you're doing those breaths, consciously dropping from the mind into the heart, consciously coming out of everything that you were doing before the call and everything that you might be needing to do afterwards, so that we can all be fully present in the now moment. Wonderful. So it's always good to gather, and feels like a really beautiful core tribe. Great to see you, Angie. I know Angie's been, I don't like the word battling, let's say standing in her sovereign power regarding speeding, as has Roger, as have I. And in fact, that's what I was doing before the call, doing an appeal to the Crown Court over my unlawful conviction. So that's a hot topic at the moment. So the floor is open to everyone who wants to share whatever's coming up for you, your opinions maybe on what's going on in the world, maybe good news that's unfolding, or anything you want to have a moan about, or get some input from everyone else on. So Rog, you got your hand up, let's come to you.
Well, I just wonder what people think about Starmer's recent public statements that he's going to send troops to Ukraine. I mean, is this man being serious? He's so unpopular as it is. Why on earth would he want to increase his lack of popularity? I'd just like to know what other people think about this.
Angie?
Well, I don't really watch the news of anything. Oh, hello, everybody. But I just noticed on the front page of Google this morning that he's wanting to bring back consignment.
Yeah.
On the back of Trump or something.
Yeah. I saw that too.
Well, I think yesterday what happened, Trump did a tweet or some kind of social media post, which I actually shared because I thought it was so funny, basically saying that America is going to cease their support, and it already put in some insane amount like $300 billion, and that it was half the money had gone missing, and that they just weren't going to support it, and that Europe should take it. He basically said it's Europe's problem, not our problem, and that we're going to withdraw. So it may be that Starmer responded that maybe that's our response, because Trump is withdrawing his support. Maybe. Well, I don't know. I haven't seen the story.
Yeah, well, that's not a justifiable reason. We don't want our young fellas going over there and being shot to pieces by the Russians. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Well, I can't see any of my sons agreeing to it, that's for sure.
I'm bloody sure they shouldn't. Absolutely.
Do we just want to go around the group and see what's going on for everyone? Conrad, let's come to you, shall we?
Unmute. Yes. Good day to everybody. Lots of love and hugs to everybody. Let's start with that. I want to thank everybody for so many positive comments on the reading that I gave to Rachel on the podcast thing. I've rewritten it, in fact, and it's a little bit longer, and I would like to put out a a video maybe with a few sort of pictures included, because what Rachel did of my piece of land I thought was really wonderful. She got the daffodils and she got what my cabin looked like. So I really thank that. So again, I would like to do another version of what I read out. It goes a little further, hopefully it goes a little deeper. And it seems to, how shall I say, touch people in a good way. So that's my plan. Otherwise, everything's fine. Wonderful weather today. It's rainy, it's blowy. It's good old Devonshire winter weather, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Thank you.
I'm muted. Thanks, Conrad. Angie, did you want to say something else? You just put your hand up.
Yes, I was.
Oh, you've muted back.
Don't know why that happens. Your email about today's video mentioned positive developments and the dismantling of. Oh,
Yeah,
I've gone. Am I still there?
yeah, yeah.
And the dismantling of the old control apparatus. So as you just mentioned before, I've been going through some speeding issues, challenging the system for 20 months now. This has been going on for me, and it was with regards to 2 allegations of speeding. And the Court and Tribunal Service and the people in its departments are really relentless. And I've found it a minefield of learning and doing things by trial and error. In fact, I think you mentioned in your video when you gave an update how people approach it in different ways. And they're really still in hot pursuit of me on behalf of my fiction. But I would just note on the positive side that they do seem to be getting themselves into quite a pickle and a tangle with it, which can only be a good thing. And also that on the positive side as well, that having been going through it for so long now, that I can share possibly some key points of the basis that they used for maintaining the conviction upon appeal, which might help other people. And I wanted to come on straight away now because I can only laugh at this, but I've got 3 leaking roofs in my lovely little home. And another one has just started over here, so I'm going to have to jump up in a minute and put a bucket underneath it. But it's just making me laugh because it's like every time some small positive seems to come my way, Satan, by whatever other name you might like to use, tries to come immediately to steal my joy away. And so I just keep trying to laugh at things and doing various other practices, which I find are really helpful. My little house really is starting to just be washed away. But I also wondered if there could be some symbolism in this, because water, I've heard a few things about water and how we use water, water words symbolically in when we're talking about money, like currency and flow and things. So I do just wonder if there's a message in it for me with all these roofs leaking all over my house. Lily's getting rained on in bed at the moment. Anyway, yeah, so those 2 things. I may have helpful things to share about appeal, and also just wondering on any symbolism to do with water flowing.
Thanks, Angie. let's just keep going around the group, and if anyone's got any insights for you, then they can share them. Julie, you were nodding there. Do you want to say something about water and leaks?
Yes, so I've had the concept for some years now, because I've done traditional Chinese medicine training, that we were in the metal element particularly, and that's part of what they call the nurturing cycle. So the metal then nurtures into the water element. So I've been wondering when the water element would be coming in, and it definitely is. And in traditional Chinese medicine terms, it's about going with the flow of life or not. And being taught as you're with that flow of life. And I had a visualization came to me a few weeks ago of I was, as I was doing a course in miracles, it had come to me, and I was being taken by the river and being bashed against the boulders. And then just even as I was thinking about it, the river bed became, the river swelled the water, and that boulder just became part of the riverbed. And then even as I was thinking that, I then ended up in the estuary going out into the sea. And I was just floating on a beautiful, calm sea. And I could see the beach and the cliffs, and knowing that I am going to be battered again at times, but also knowing it wasn't my time at that point to be battered. And so the water element is the kidney energies and the bladder energies. And that's particularly the time of day, 3 o'clock in the afternoon onwards, from my memory. I'm just going on that one. So it's very much go with the flow. The colour blue is very symbolic of the water as well. And if you also get into the co-cycle, which is the control cycle, so the water controls the fire, and the fire is about transformation and the flowering of ideas. And so yeah, I don't know if that'll help you with any of that, but yeah, there's so much water stuff happening, and we just need to go with the flow. And whatever they're doing, like the fluoridation of water and things, and what they're doing in Mansfield, they're narrowing our roads by putting supposedly detention basins, they're even called, to stop flooding. And there's one particular road nearby that they've done it on the incline of the hill, and it is now flooding literally in the bottom of that hill where you would expect the water to go. So why on earth have they narrowed off our roads and causing more potential problems on the roads?
Both Carrie and Joanne are signalling wanting to come in here.
That's fine. I'll shut up.
Yeah, no, we can come back to you, Julie. Carrie, did you want to add something?
Okay, thank you. Hello, everyone. Yes, Julie, you just mentioned fluoride, and I've just tried to ring up local South West Water yesterday and speak to somebody in the lab about, you know, whether they were going to put fluoride in our water, because I'd heard rumours. But I couldn't get to anybody in the lab. I just got to some customer service guy. So, but we haven't got it in. But I do know that allegedly fluoride doesn't do the pineal gland any favours. So that might be one of the main reasons why they're doing it. It's obviously not for health. But I have found out on their website that medical professionals have to decide whether to add fluoride based on dental health in their area. But they have to consult with the local population before making a decision. So they can only add fluoride to the water if the response to proposals are predominantly in favour, which kind of is a juxtaposition, because if they have a legal requirement, then surely whatever public opinion is, they have a legal requirement. I don't know. But at the moment, this area is okay. That's really all I wanted to say as you brought the subject up, Julie. All right. If it's any use to anybody. Thank you.
Thanks, Carrie. Joanne, did you want to add something?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm on my phone and it's a long story. I haven't got internet, so I can't concentrate as well as I should be doing. Yeah, yeah, I have had a lot going on last year. That's another long story. Julie knows a little bit. The water is interesting. I have heard something about water, but I'm afraid I'm not in depth. But what Julie said makes sense. And as for the fluoride, yeah, of course it's to do with controlling everybody so they're zombified or whatever, because the pineal gland is obviously linked to it. We found that. That's absolute. And anyway, it's a product that was what was it supposed to be, a byproduct? It's a waste, and it's quite toxic, which is typical. So that's really, I would have thought, if they want to put that in the water now with all the evidence how toxic it is, good luck, I say, because if people would say, hang on a minute, it's toxic, you can't put that in the water. So I know that sounds too simplified, but we need to just know that we can actually, legally say to them, the evidence is there, you can't put it in. Too simple, maybe, too simple. But as for all the courts, yeah, I think they are on the run. I mean, they know people are beginning to sort of not just run up there like sheep and do exactly what they're told. And I think that is scaring them without a doubt. Can't just ramrod everybody to, you need to do this, you need to do that. No, they can't do that anymore. And we need to be more aware of the rights we have. Yeah. But folks, I'm lovely to speak to everybody. I really, really enjoy the Zooms, and I've had trouble because I haven't been able to get on the Zooms for many reasons. My own personal reasons as well, not in the kind of frame of mind. But I say on the phone, I don't like using this. It's just, I can't do anything with it, and I can't see properly my little phone. But it's so lovely to be part of, the love movement. And I say I'll come on when I can do, but I'm probably going to go off in a minute as he's making lunch down there. And there's so much going on today, so I'm waiting for other deliveries and that. So yeah, but it is absolutely lovely to be a part of the Zoom meeting. And we're battling through. Yeah, maybe battle's the wrong word. We are going through it, and we're gently sailing through it on the water to get to where we need to be. I mean, I don't know. I'm not very good on that sort of thing. That's your field, Rachel. I wish I knew more, and Julie. I wish I knew more about the different flows. I'm quite new to all the spiritual aspects, but I'm getting there, slowly but surely. And all the Christian friends of mine sort of giving me ideas, and I'm all mixed up with the Christian and all the spiritual. I'm a kind of spiritual Christian, I think. I don't know how to describe it. Julia's got the right idea. Julie, with all the information I get from Julie, it's pretty good. Anyway, sorry, I'm rabbiting on and I'm rambling. But yeah, it's lovely to be here. And I'll say I'm probably jumping off because I can't concentrate on this stupid phone, my mobile. Sorry.
Okay, thanks for coming on, Joanne, and thanks for your sweet words. Let's come back to Julie, and then we'll come to Alan, who hasn't spoken yet.
So there's lots of stuff I could say in response to all of that, but including, I'm reading this book, The Indoctrinated Brain, okay?
Yes.
And it gives a lot of information about what they're actually using chemicals to stop the brain working properly and the immune system working properly. So it says how to successfully fend off the global attack on your mental freedom, and I would highly recommend it. So it's not just the pineal gland, it's the hippocampus as well that's affected, and it goes into a lot of detail in there. Sometimes it's a little bit too technical for me to engage too much in, and definitely not to pass over on here. There was other stuff I can't remember that she said, but also I'm just noticing the metal bed behind Joanne, and metal is not good. We are electromagnetic beings. And it even said somewhere that we're more magnetic electro beings. So we need to be very mindful of where we are and what we're doing in our environment. So a bit of a quick update on what else I'm doing. So the Community Assembly of the British Isles, I'm very involved with that locally, and I'm one of the facilitators for Nottinghamshire, which just means that as people join the Nottinghamshire, I get an email to welcome them in. I'm really working with John Gilbert and the others on that. And every Monday they have a meditation from 7 o'clock till 7:30 that everybody's welcome to attend. And it's really just a peace meditation that they're sending out. And it's really, really helpful. So Conrad's just said who wrote The Indoctrinated Brain. It's Michael Nehls. Nehls. I don't know. It's German. Nehls. So I'll just put that there. So yes, yeah, and they're going to do a recording from the cabbie of the meditation, so that everyone can do it spontaneously as often as they want, rather than having to connect live on a Monday 7 till 7:30. And that was my suggestion, because some people just can't do it, but also we want to do it more often and keep getting that piece out there, and it does make a difference to everyone. So I'm still involved with Albion and the England Cooperative, and I'm trying to get everybody involved with Cabbie and Albion, England Cooperative, or depending where you live in the British Isles. And even the terminology, you know, do I say British Isles? Do I say Great Britain? I say it with love, whatever I'm saying. Am I a person? I'm a human being, I know, but sometimes I might use the terminology person and people. And it's just, we need to be in the light side of whatever we're doing. So, right, and also the war stuff to do with Starmer and him showing himself in camouflage gear is not helpful for anyone. And it's not only the males that they're wanting to involve in the war on the front, they're wanting to involve females as well. We don't need anyone to be involved in that. We need peace. And I was listening to something earlier today that was saying how Boris Johnson had actually stopped a peace thing being happening that could have done before any of all this war was happening. And he didn't allow the peace that even, what's the name of the country that they're in? Yeah, even where they are, they were trying to have peace. And so really we could blame Boris Johnson for the deaths that's been happening. And just because now they've run out of people locally to be able to be gun fodder doesn't mean that we then bring other people in. And whatever Trump has done, I'm sure he's just not wanting the Americans to be gun fodder. So why do we want any of our people to be? And other than that, oh yeah, the Workers' Party, the main guy of that, I've forgotten his name now, but he did a video that was shared about what should not be happening war-wise. So, and I mean, you don't really need to watch that, because you know that we shouldn't be having war. We can have peace, and we just need to work towards that. And that's where I am. So thank you.
Thanks, Julie. Alan, would you like to speak, as you haven't come on yet?
Yes, thank you very much. A long time since I've been on one of these Zoom meetings, and I'm grateful to everybody. Yeah, I work a lot with love. I've got a few points to make about water in my own experience, and it's different for everybody, but I'm increasingly now sea swimming. I did start sea swimming when I moved down to this area on the Sussex coast. I'm very close to the sea. It's very, very cold, so it doesn't suit everybody, but it does suit me, and I cold shower as well. So that's one of the relationships that I have with water. Some of you will know about shungite, I suspect, and the healing and health benefits of that, and the effectiveness apparently of shungite in water. And certainly I put shungite into all of my drinking water. It didn't seem to be doing me any harm. And the other final point I want to make about breath work, I'm doing a lot in breath work and meditation these days. It helps keep me sane. And I'm a great follower now of Patrick McKeon, and I'll put the link to his website. So I think he's world leading now in nose breathing and nasal breathing. So there are all kinds of breath work, and followers of Wim Hof and his breath work will know how powerful this is. But you might not have heard of Patrick McKeon, and I'll put that He has a YouTube channel as well, but you won't find him under his name. He uses mouth taping for sleeping. I don't. I'm lucky. I can sleep and generally keep breathing through my nose. So Patrick McKeon's website is Oxygen Advantage. I'm typing this into the chat as I go. .com, and he has a YouTube channel which you will find as well. And I'll put my website into the chat. The only other thing I wanted to mention finally, Angie, is that I'm on John Gilbert's distribution list for Cabby, and I've also joined the England cooperative that Julie was kind enough to involve me in. So I just mentioned that if you want to connect with me, then Angie, I'll put my contact details into the chat, Angie, and you can connect with me.
And perhaps we could have a Zoom, the three of us, about Cabby. That would be great. I've got a Zoom account as well, so we'll sort that.
Okay, yeah. As and when, especially when it's not great weather outside. So thank you all, and love to everyone, and love wins.
Thanks, Alan. Carrie's patiently sitting there with her hand up.
Hi, I didn't realise, Julie, that you were Cabby, because I'm Cabby, and well, there's lots of Cabby now, isn't there? Which is great. So, you know, count me in on any kind of group activities. That would be good, because we've got quite a few members here, but there's, as usual, there's just a few of us that are actually do stuff, and the rest of them expect everyone else to do it. And I'm also Albion, which is good. And Alan mentioned about breath work. Well, I've been following on YouTube a lady called Isabella Green with an E, and she has got, if you type in isabellagreen.com or go to YouTube, you should find her. And she not only talks about breath work, she also talks about astral travel, which she's been doing since she was very young, and quantum traveling. And she seems to know an awful lot about what's going on in the other realms, more than most people. So you might find it interesting and informative. So that's why I've mentioned it. And I wanted to just say something very quickly, that it was interesting. I was reflecting on my childhood, and I didn't come from a heavy church background or anything. My parents weren't churchgoers, but I always had to say my prayers every night and thank God for whatever. And I think what that did, it opened up my understanding as a 5-year-old that there's something greater, there's in another realm that actually you can connect with. And I think that was an important sort of point in my life. And secondly, going to Sunday school, as children did, learning about this guy called Jesus who actually perform miracles and heal the sick. And I remember most kids just went there for the free biscuit or to colour in Noah's Ark or something. But I actually thought, wow, I wish I could meet this person. He's a healer. I'd love to know how he does it. I'd like to do it. And that was when I was 5. So it obviously had an impact on me. And I'm very grateful that that's kind of, you know, opened me up to other possibilities, because there's a lot of people that I meet that are just not spiritually awake at all. And when you start talking to them, they just go, I don't believe that. And that's the end of it, you know. So I just found that quite interesting. I don't know what other people's childhood experiences have been. But anyway, that's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Carrie. I'm going to do a personal little share on this now, as everyone else has spoken, and it kind of goes back to what Rog said about Starmer, and I'm just actually looking at the news because I hadn't checked in today about oh, we're going to have to do conscription if we need to go to war with against Russia. And it's like, and I've said this before, it's like they are constantly trying to bring our energy down into fear, into outrage, into the 3D, precisely for the reason Carrie says, is that higher dimensional energy, that sacred geometry, when we're aligned to that, we're in a very high vibration and we're all powerful. Hence why the fluoride in the tap water, to try and bring our energy down, and all of the shit in our food. And that's why I posted the link to that new documentary which has just come out, which was actually, someone had recommended it to me. It's off the back of RFK, because he's coming in to break the big corporate cartel in America of all the shit they put in food to lower all the toxins, all designed to lower everyone's vibration, and all the psyops which they're putting in to convince the people to eat this shit, basically. So you can see how the system is constantly, you might want to call it Satan, constantly, whether it's through the food, whether it's through the water, whether it's through the news, whether it's through the courts, and this constant assault on, you know, window envelope, brown paper envelopes coming through the letterbox with all of these mass-produced speeding points, which we know are completely unlawful. It's all designed to bring our vibration down. So that's why it's so important for us to keep in that vertical alignment and to keep connecting to that higher spiritual, metaphysical plane of infinite intelligence and pure love, because that's where the power is, and that they know that. So it's being done deliberately to disempower us, and we are about liberation, opportunity, vitality, and empowerment. So this awakening of consciousness is really key to the movement. Daniel's just joined. Daniel, do you want to come on and put in your 2 penneth? Or do you just want to sit there and listen? Hey, Daniel. Anyone wanting to add to what I said? Oh, Daniel, do you want to speak? Nothing from him. Okay, anyone wanting to add to that, Alan?
Yes, I'll do my best to amplify that. The satanic forces, for want of a better phrase, only know how to destroy. In my view, they are self-destructing, and if Starmer is announcing, it doesn't surprise me. This has been kind of alluded to for a while, to introduce conscription. That's another part of the inevitable collapse of this madness, because they won't be able to recruit. They won't be able to recruit the numbers for one shift, as it were, of soldiers, never mind the 3 shifts that they need, which you need for an army, and all of the other supporting energies that are required for an army. So to my mind, it's all part of the inevitable collapse, along with the rise of the light workers. The reason I was a little late today is I had a meeting with an energy healer where I am here, who connected with me, and she's an extraordinary woman, does sound baths and sound healings with quartz crystal bowls and all kinds of stuff. I'm going along to one of her sessions, and when I see a way it'll emerge, I will work with her to help heal and educate people. And so that's what I have to say, and hopefully that is an amplification of that, because I'm not doing it to benefit myself. I'm certainly not doing it to earn money. I'm doing it because I want a better world for our children. I want to stop the wars as well. And that's why I follow Chris Coverdale and his work. I think we have to be careful to get enough rest, however we can get our rest and recharge our batteries, because we must avoid spreading ourselves too thin. We just have one soul, and we're trying to do what we can in this lifetime before we come round again, depending on one's view of Christianity and what a soul actually is. So thank you for allowing me to speak again. Love to everyone.
Thanks, Alan. Anyone else want to add to this? Angie? You were talking about Satan earlier.
No, not really. Just I have been listening to some American Christian preachers, and I've been listening to them sometimes. So Carrie said earlier about what you like define yourself as, and I'm coming to the point where I really avoid using labels for anything. But I'm kind of similar. I have a Christian upbringing, and but it was drab in Mum's church, and not inspiring, not encouraging, enthusing, not positive. It was basically, until I kind of found friends outside of school, 14, 15, 16 years old, I went to church religiously every Sunday for fear of God, and thinking, well, I better believe in God or else. And of course, all of that is what I call Satan. I see God as goodness and everything that is goodness, and Satan as everything that is badness, not like a little man over here with his red horns and forked tail. I think because we have freedom, we can choose to act not in faith and not in love at any given moment, or we can choose to act godlike, Christ-like, with the Holy Spirit flowing through us, in confidence, in faith, in goodness, despite what the material world shows us. And I wouldn't classify myself as a Christian. I'm developing my spirituality, kind of like what Carrie said. But these American preachers, I don't agree with everything that they say, but I just zone off to what doesn't resonate. But they are so positive and enthusiastic and encouraging. And I can see that what they share about the Bible is all the good stuff that draws people in, and they then use money for a force for good, because they then, with their donations, they go out and spread that word further afield, and it helps them seed into other people who are then themselves able to spread goodness. And that's what I think it's really meant to be all about, not the negative stuff. I think we're divided on these matters because we either fear God, or we've been taught that there's a separation between God and science, and so you can only either believe in God or believe in science, and not both. So if you believe in God, you're a nutter, or you believe in God through fear. And I think both of those concepts is the wrong way. We're being led on a bum steer.
Just to add in my 2 pence before we come to Rog, who's got his hand up, it's very interesting to notice how Trump is using this God and Christian thing, and all of the kind of Republicans are all like, God's on our side, and it's the classic trick, isn't it? Like, it's my might and my right, and God is behind us and God's on our side, and therefore what we're doing is justified. And same happening with Israel, isn't it, with the whole Gaza thing. So we have to be really careful when how they're using religion to kind of drive some of these policies is the wrong word. This energy, this attacking energy, and just using God to justify it. Rog, let's come to you.
Yeah, Rachel, I just wanted to thank you so much for all the work you're doing, particularly with the hosting of this, which must be quite an interference with all the other work that you're doing. And most people don't understand it, but I take particular notice of all the programs that you're working on to help with the well-being, mainly mentally, you know, in terms of positivity towards people's ventures in life. So that's really all I wanted to say. I've got nothing else more dynamic, but I just really want people to appreciate the work that you do. And I certainly do, because I know what you're doing.
Thanks,
I
Rog.
just think, yeah,
It is nourishing for my soul, though, to do this. It is to me, it's being in service. It doesn't feel like work. I don't tend to do anything that feels like work. I do things that I feel are in service, like Alan was saying about that being in service, and we're all in service in our own way, aren't we?
Yeah.
Julia, do you want to come on, because you've been quite active in the chat?
Yes, I've just put in about attending a Charles Coves Zoom this week, and it got Pastor Artur Pawlowski. I'm not quite sure how to say it, but oh, it was a really inspiring, and he is doing it for the love of people. And the way he was treated, so he was supporting the Canadian truckers. I don't know if you've heard of him, Rachel.
I remember he was the guy, wasn't he, that they kind of dragged out of his church and.
Yeah,
and
yeah. They treated him so badly, even dragging him naked within the prison. And honestly, he was so good and so inspiring. So even if anything like that should be to happen to anybody, just keep connecting with the real God. So Bible has been mistranslated into English. It was only translated into English in relatively recent times, I think possibly 300 years ago-ish. And they've missed out a lot of the healing aspects in the Bible. And also they've included things like, I think it was Abraham being told to take his child up the mountain by God, supposedly, to put him to death. And this sort of thing is to do with the child trafficking and the paedophilia. And then, okay, Abraham was told he didn't need to kill the child, but it was to kill an animal. And that is not what God is about. God is love and genuine love, and that's what we need to really honour. But I would highly recommend the Charles Coves. They're Sunday nights and Tuesday nights, 8 o'clock till 10:30 UK time, and he has some amazing conversations on there. And sometimes we do have to agree to disagree on things, but mostly everybody is very respectful, and if not, they're just sort of, right, let's have a discussion about this, okay? But highly recommend.
Cool. We got both Carrie and Alan wanting to speak again. Roger, I don't know if your hand's up again, but let's come to Carrie first and then back to Alan.
Thank you. I just wanted to reiterate what Roger said. Thank you, Rachel, for everything that you do. And I do understand, because I do a lot of stuff, at Loveland, growing things, nurturing things, and all sorts of activities, and helping people wherever you can. And it doesn't feel like a chore. It feels like you're meant to be doing it. It's lovely. And on the subject of Christianity, which is a massive subject, so I'll be brief. I recently went into one of those phone boxes where you get books for free, and somebody had been in there before and obviously nicked a load of books, probably to sell at a booth there. So there was one lone book on the shelf, and it was called Gnostic Christianity. And I thought, that was meant for me. And I read it, and it was a lot of what I, realised, but it just encapsulated everything I needed to know. And as most of us are aware, Christianity was very Gnostic before Constantine got hold of it and changed it into a state religion for control. And he completely turned it on its head, so that the Gnostics were then, the true followers of Christ's inner message were then heretics, conveniently. And of course, he slaughtered 1 million Cathars, heretics. Why not? So it's just interesting that, we we have been brought up, well, I was, you know, to worship this God who is, you know, fear, and you've got to do as I say, or else I'll do away with you. And I realised that the Hebrew God was just some despotic one of many gods, and that Jesus actually says in the Bible, you know, don't want anything to do with that guy. My heavenly Father is more or less, you know, the cosmic consciousness. And so that kind of made sense to me then. So I just thought I'd let people know in case they get confused by the two. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Carrie. Alan?
Thank you. I want to, as you can see in the chat, echo what Julie says. I've been taking part in these meetings for quite a while now. I took a bit of a break when I moved house, but this, I really would encourage everyone to at least dip into this Zoom meeting featuring Artur Pawlowski. He is such an extraordinary man, and he says, I think that he doesn't know anyone else in the world who's had as many what he calls citations for breaking the law, and who's been treated more horrifically, even arguably more so than someone like Rainer Fuellmich. But he approaches this with the same kind of loving energy as we are referring to here, and he is such an incredibly inspirational example of what, I mean, it's beyond words, it's beyond my capability to describe how extraordinary this man is. The thing to do is dip in at least to the Rumble link meeting that Julie has posted, and you'll get an idea. He's an absolutely extraordinary man, and that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thanks, Alan. Anyone wanting to add to this? Conrad, do you want to come back on?
Well, thank you for inviting me. Not really. My particular belief is that we are God. And I'm a little concerned sometimes about the fact that we look outside for God and not inside in our hearts, which I think is the most important aspect from my perspective anyway. That's all I can say to that. Thank you.
Thanks, Conrad. I'd love to put in my little two penneth here. My outlook, or well, it's really a teaching from having done a lot of ayahuasca medicine work, is like it's a sacred geometry. So what lies beyond the veil is like perfect sacred geometry, and I've been shown Christ as a perfect sacred geometry, like a Merkaba. So like his sacred geometry was so powerful and perfect that in his presence all was healed, because it kind of snapped to the grid. So like if there's any illness, it's because the part of the body's fallen into disease or chaos. And by the same token, like if someone's speaking bullshit lies, and you know there's a resonance to truth, and there's a dissonance to lies. And so coming back to water, wind and water feng shui, air, the breath, and the water we drink, the more beautiful the sacred geometry of the chi we're breathing. So by the sea, or like in like at Crestbrook Dale, like pristine chi, or drinking the pure water from the Buxton Spring of natural living water. So like and eating really beautiful, fresh, organic food where the sacred geometry is the closest to God possible. We can that's how we keep our vitality, because we're constantly aligning to nature. So by the other token, war is about chaos and destruction. As Alan said, Satan works constantly. It's an inversion of all that sacred geometry, that life force energy, constantly trying to crush it, destroy it, mangle it, poison it. And so this is our work, is to keep coming back to sacred geometry. That's where I kind of see it. Like, anyway, that's my little two penneth. Carrie, do you want to say something?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, thank you, Conrad, for reminding me that, yes, there is the greater consciousness, but we are all a part of it because we're all a little spark of it, which is important to know, because I remember learning about the Hindu religion, about Brahma and Atman, and, you know, one is the outer consciousness and one is the inner consciousness, and we are totally absorbed and totally connected with it at all times. We just don't tune in, or we just don't realize. And it's quite a beautiful arrangement, really. So that's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thanks, Carrie. Any last words as we're coming up to 1 o'clock? Rog, do you want to say, Julie?
Yeah, I've just put in the chat. Richard Phobes has done a video, I think it was just today, that's
wow.
on the power of prayer. And when you think that they have been arresting people for praying outside abortion clinics and things like that, but we need to make sure that we are allowed. But every thought is a potential prayer. So if you notice your thoughts, every thought sends out a vibration. So that's why we need to be in love, not fear. And it is not sexual love that we need, it's genuine love for everybody and everything. And if you don't think of a blue monkey, you will start thinking of blue. Sit down to do mine. And so if you say to yourself, oh, I'm not going to worry, then you will start worrying. So we need to use those positive words and know that every single thing that we think even is power of prayer positively. And if you think of Jesus, and I've had various visualizations to do with Jesus. Jesus said, the person that has never sinned can throw the first stone. And even a sinful thought is as bad as murder. So as we get into that, and it's really starting to notice your own thoughts, your own behaviours, your own feelings, your own actions, and the more we can all do that, the more we'll help each other. Thank you.
Thanks, Julie. And I just looked up that video. It's only 6 minutes long, but I'm going to look at that after. I'll post it, or maybe you'll post it in the love stream. But that looks really fascinating. It's really great to see people picking up on this consciousness theme. So wonderful. Yeah. And yeah, it's really, and Angie mentioned earlier about like all of this shit show happening. And I totally get that. But on the other hand, the way I'm seeing it now, it's like an opportunity. Every time I'm plunged into the labyrinth, like going into the court, going into that geometry of a cube, which is pure control. If you go into a courtroom, it's like a square, which is the symbol of like the patriarchal system. Or if they put you in a police cell, you'll notice it's an exact cube. And the idea is like that's a control mechanism. It's not in alignment with nature, which is the golden mean. So it's really interesting. So the system's constantly trying to control us by taking us out of that alignment to nature and sacred geometry. So I just always see it as an opportunity to practice finding my way out of the labyrinth back into the light, no matter how dark it gets. And so seeing it as like a training program. Okay, can I hold my center and keep shining my light despite all of this external shit? And can I find my way back out to the light? Can I keep speaking my truth, not fall into fear and like, no, like, you know, and collapse. Like this is what we're doing. We're literally collapsing the false matrix through our sacred geometry. So like what Conrad was saying, like Conrad, when I went to see you, Conrad, it's like you are nature. You're living, you are like the green man, you know, in alignment with the forest. And that is a true shaman. You know, like making things out of wood and living in alignment with nature and rising with the sun and drinking natural water. And it's beautiful for us to realign, because that we are, yes, sacred geometry, if you re-scramble the letters, is my God recreates. So it's aligning ourselves with nature and keep coming out of the labyrinth back into the light, back into that alignment. And it's a constant practice. And as Julie says, being very mindful of every spelling, every word, every action, every thought. And you can catch Wetiko thoughts, like you sometimes catch a little Wetiko thought and like, thank you, like, no, off you go. So it's a constant practice. But it's been a beautiful conversation today. I'm really pleased that we've come onto this subject of consciousness, because truly this is the remedy. So lots of love. Thanks for coming on. And I'm going to stop the recording now in case anyone wants to add anything. So we'll see you in next month, third Thursday of every month at 12 noon is the Love Movement call. And if anyone wants to get on these calls and get the Zoom link, then if you go to love-party.co.uk, then you can join. It's free and you can get the links. Even I think our site might be slightly problematical at the moment, but it's being fixed. Anyway, lots of love.